that, let's get back into this. Axel, you sit down in the circle. And begin to try to concentrate. I need you to roll me an Arcana check. On an 18, you stare into the mirror and you find yourself being drawn in, almost looking into the pupils of your own eyes, and they seem to widen and become black. And that blackness surrounds you. And almost in a blink, you find yourself in familiar surroundings. You are in West, and you are facing the huge closed wooden gates that lead to the Viceroy's Highway. Everything here has an overly saturated blue-gray cast, much like that of your nightly divination dreams, but this is different. You feel like you're on the edge of a precipice, and you're about to fall an unfathomable distance off of that place. You turn in a slow circle, gathering your surroundings. The sky above roils with weird dark purple and blue clouds, lightning and thunder flashing in it. And as you turn around, the gates slam open. A dark, cold wind whips through the open threshold to the vice laying beyond and swirls around the courtyard. The dust kicks up all around you, burning your eyes as a cloak and clothes flutter in the harsh rush of air. A seething, malevolent energy snarls at your presence here, first pushing you away, then opening its maw to swallow you whole. You're pulled forward and then sucked into the vice, accelerating at breakneck speed. In an instant, you are at the vortex and are thrown into the sky through an ethereal barrier. As you rise through layer after layer of clouds, you see each layer, for as far as the eye can see, is covered with shimmering dragon eggs. As you watch, you see the eggs all begin to crack and hatch, and from them emerges the black serpentine shapes of thousands upon thousands of newborn netherwings coalescing into a massive swarm. The vision shifts. You're floating over a teeming gathering of people. It's nighttime. Huge tents and colorful pavilions illuminated from within look like giant lanterns among the throng. You can spot Mim's familiar caravan. As you float over the scene of celebration and frivolity, you can see mixed in among the crowd, cloaked, red-robed figures stalking the shadows, dispersing themselves throughout all of those assembled here. Another scene. You are witnessing this as though you're lying on the ground. Standing over you, you see a fiery warrior wielding a black iron sword, fighting a pitched battle against a horde of monstrous foes. He is flanked by a moon-elf swashbuckler, dual-wielding rapiers. His sky-blue hair whips wildly around his head as though he's standing in a hurricane. They are fighting desperately, back to back now, while overhead you see Luck on golden wings trying to turn the tide of a battle that is quickly being lost. The scene shifts again. You see a huge complex of buildings made of sun-bleached porous stone. It sits like a skeleton of a huge beast upon a low rise of land surrounded by a sea of reeds and marsh. You pass unhindered through the outer wall of the interior maze of passageways and chambers all crowded with clergy in silver cassocks and armored peacekeepers. You arrive at a vast, open space filled with silver light. Prayer alcoves line the walls, and a gallery of pews fill an upper balcony that stretches the full length of the chamber. At its end, a raised pulpit lords over the congregation space. Behind it, a choir stands made up of the dozens of hooded figures staring out with milky white eyes. At their center, a small moon-faced cherubic figure stands with her hood back, looking to the sky as she opens her mouth and begins to sing. As you watch, the doors behind you burst open as a churning tidal wave crashes into the space, but then the water turns to ice, shatters, and falls to the floor like teardrops. The scene shifts again. It's the close-up of a work table. Next to it, a small anvil and a forge. As you watch, two sets of clockwork mechanisms, one set white and one set black, begin to assemble themselves on the tables. As the gears begin to interlock and spanners join together, familiar forms begin to emerge. The black set becoming the death rune, the white set becoming the life rune. There's a flash of lightning, and the clockwork runes are replaced with a set of familiar eyes. One green and one gold. The scene changes again. You see Florian leap on Balshirian's back and rise into the air as dozens of other griffins and their riders rise in the air as well to join him, wheeling in the air to face an approaching black cloud of serpentine figures. The scene changes again. You are in a large marble room with ornate warding circle etched deeply into the floor. The room is littered with corpses of gray-robed mages. Their bright red blood flows in the room, and at the center, a rift, leaving it into darkness. The scene changes again. You see a gold dragonborn standing at the center of a field of battle. The bodies of dozens of vanquished foes scattered around them, in their hand a blazing greatsword that shines like the sun itself. Everything then goes dark, and you see Riley standing alone and resolute on a hill, sword in hand, facing down as a gargantuan undead dragon rises up from its grave, opens its mouth, and begins to roar. Axel, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw. On a nat 1.
I love it! I'm not re-rolling that.
Nope. As you see your son looking into this skeleton, this giant, gargantuan, undead dragon, you see the burning runes in the dragon's eyes. Draconic runes. Your runes. And when you see that, you feel your mind crack. You take 25 points of psychic damage. Oh. And please reduce your intelligence score by 6.